It is divisional round week over at Off the Edge and just the NFL in general. We're back, and we had an interesting wild card. Cam, I went 4-2 on my picks last week. I missed one of them that you had because you had the Bears winning. I had the Packers, and man, the Packers really hate my guts to blow that one.
And the Bears snuck away with that one, to be fair, Jacob. And sorry, Jacob, I'm saying your full name on the pod. You say your full government name. But Jake, watching that Bears and Packers game was insane. The Bears snuck away with one. I don't know if they'll do it this week. I know we're going through our top performers. Jake, I had to remove some of the guys from our top performers because they're playing against the Rams. Those are our guys. But there's some people that we can look out for from that Bears team. They did a good job coming back that game.
Yeah, and then the other one I got wrong. I think, we flip-flopped. I mean, I had the Jaguars beating the Bills, and Josh Allen was like, 10-yard QB sneak, let's go. You know, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Just insane. But no, it was a fun, I feel like 4 of the games out of the 6 held up the end of the bargain, right? They were exciting. I felt like the last 2 were just absolute snoozers. And I mean, I understand
the Patriots involved. The Patriots involved in that one, Jake.
Yeah, I mean that game was just boring. It just was. But the first 4 were great. I mean, you talk about the Bears and Packers game. That game comes down to the wire. The Rams Panthers game came down to the wire.
Literally fast, last 40 seconds.
Yeah, Bills Jaguars and 49ers Eagles. It all came down in the final 2 minutes. So that's all you could really ask for in a wild card round. Excitement, and we got that.
Some of the best
Patriots,
football
Chargers.
I've seen this year, Jake. Sorry, some of the best football I've seen this year. Besides that Patriots Chargers game that you mentioned, but those other games, dude, they were nail biters. I had people over at the house, and we're like, "Oh, it's the fourth quarter. We don't know who's going to win."
Yeah, no, it wasn't easy, and especially if you're a fan of one of those teams, which we are. So let's talk about it. We're going to start off with our recap of the top performers. Cam, I'll just throw you mine real quick. I got Jordan Love. I nailed that one. Can't believe that man's going home throwing 4 tutties. They really, really screwed him over. And I know you love his seam ball. We saw just his ability to spread the field through 4 different touchdowns to 4 different receivers, including a guy who didn't catch a touchdown during the regular season Matthew Golden. Christian McCaffrey had 2 touchdowns and 100 total yards. Couldn't run the ball.
They weren't even running touchdowns, Jake.
Yeah, they couldn't run the ball. So he's like, all right, bet. And he helped them in the receiving game. And then I didn't do very well at wide receiver. As a matter of fact, Jacoby Myers might be the reason that they lost that game because he didn't come down with the. But I think there was holding on Trey White, to be fair, whatever. Josh Hines-Allen, 5 pressures, a sack, 4 stops. He was great. I mean, he really was. And I think he just makes it known. Like anytime he goes up against Josh Allen, he's trying to be the superior Josh Allen. So there's that. Edgerrin Cooper, I felt awful for. He was having an incredible game, 8 tackles, 5 stops, leaves the game with an injury. And by the way, right around that time is when the Bears started making a comeback. So that probably had something to do with it. And then Kamari Lassiter, look, didn't have the interception that maybe you're looking for in the top performers, but he had 3 defensive stops, and he held the Steelers, which might not be that hard, but any NFL team, it's hard. -2 yards on 3 targets. Absolutely balled out. Kamari Lassiter was one of the top performers of the week, and that was my list.
Nice, Jake. Yeah, my top performers, of course, it was a cheat code, but I went with Puka Nacua. I mentioned, we talked about this before, Jake. Offensive Player of the Year. I know we talked about JSN, but what Puka Nacua is doing, you hear some of the sound clips, the sound bites, and it's like, this dude's a beast, right? He's like, I lift weights. He's catching screen passes. He's finding the end zone.
Did you hear he lifts weights?
Yeah, he's basically telling the other guy to get in the gym, bro, because they don't lift enough weights. He's running through them. But I had Puka Nacua as my number 1. Will Anderson Jr. Strip sack, forced fumble to pretty much put that game away. And so, man, that Texans defensive line, CJ Stroud didn't do him any favors. We'll talk about this a little bit later. He fumbled 5 times, threw an interception. That was atrocious. But what that defense did, man, it was a masterclass, the way that they scored touchdowns. And this is what, Jake, a lot of times in the locker room, they're like, okay, guys, our offense isn't scoring. F them. Let's go do it ourselves. And that's what the Texans did. That was pretty awesome to see. DeAndre Swift, he was my other guy. 1 touchdown, a couple of receptions and some yards on the ground, 54 yards. So they got the W at the end of the day. So I'm going to move them forward. Nate Landman, 10 tackles. He was all over the field against the Panthers. Chuba Hubbard ran the ball decently, but Rico Dowdle didn't. And I think that Nate Landman was a reason for that. But just leading in the center, and then Kevin Byard, 5 tackles. He anchored that secondary to getting a W. So some of those guys on the list weren't, crazy performers, but they won and they did their job at the end of the day. So that's all you can ask for.
No, I hear you. I took out Tyler Higbee. I thought he played well, but they forgot that he was on the field. So, 2 catches, 45 yards.
Yeah. They said Kobe Parkinson's here, guy. We're going to go to Kobe.
Yeah. I mean, they forgot he was on the field until the last play of the game, to be fair. So,
yeah.
So we move on to the top performers this week. This is our segment. We love doing it, and we feel like this kind of separates us. I don't think anybody else is doing this. So let's get right into it. I'm going to go with Josh Allen at quarterback. So you go with Puka Nacua. I'm going to take Josh Allen, okay?
Yeah.
You know what? You have a great defense, Denver, but you don't have a defense that can stop Josh Allen. I don't know if anybody is. What do they say? You can't stop him. You hope to contain him. Well, Josh Allen is going to, he's going to go off. He knows he is one step away from going to the AFC title game, and there's not a Burrow, there's not a Mahomes, and there's not a Lamar in sight. So there's no excuse for the Bills not to go to the Super Bowl this year. That should be the entire thing. Josh Allen might be throwing to you and I this Sunday, but I do, or this Saturday, but I do think he's going to be the top.
They have someone
performer
on my list, Jake, that he's going to be throwing to. So I'm gonna say that for later.
I like it. So I got Josh Allen, and then running back, I got RJ Harvey. Look, Broncos, they can run the football. They do miss J.K. Dobbins. I think they miss him a ton, but RJ Harvey can help you in the passing game and the running game. And I do expect the Bills, who just have not stopped the run well at all this year. We saw it with Bashul Tutin last week. We saw it with, ETN. I think more will be the same. I think Harvey's going to have a really good game, and so he is my top performer at running back. But what say you for your first two with a quarterback and running back?
Yeah, Jake. So for this one, I go quarterback with Bo Nix. I'm going opposite of what you went with. With Josh Allen. Bo Nix, he's been sitting the bench for a while, Jake. I was trying to look at some of his recent games. I'm like, I know they played the Chiefs. I know they've been relaxing week 18 as well. So I had to go all the way back to like week 15 when he had like a real matchup against the Packers. I think they were 12-2 then, and he lit it up. Jake had 4 touchdowns that game, 300 yards. He did his thing, 134 passer rating. RJ Harvey did his thing that game too. And so I think Bo Nix is going to light it up. And you look at some of these rushing stats, Harvey is leading in the rushing game. He's a better pass catcher, but Bo Nix is right behind him. So I think this game, you'll see Bo Nix escape the pocket a little bit, similar to what Josh Allen does. And I think their defense gets after, and I think they win this game. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but Bo Nix, I think, is the guy for the Broncos. And then I didn't go running back this week, Jake. I just went straight receivers, bro. I went straight receivers on this one. I went Christian Kirk for my first receiver. The game he had, with Nico Collins out was outstanding. I think he had 140 something yards or 100 plus 111 yards that game. And I feel like at this point, if the Bills are watching with Nico Harvey, the Bills are watching that recent game. If Nico Collins sits on the sideline, they're going to have to double team Christian Kirk. Because if not, Jake, he's going to go off. He's going to do his thing. But he had a hell of a game. And I think he'll do the same thing against the Bills. And like I mentioned, man, this Texans team, they're looking impressive. You know what, Jake? I said I didn't have a running back, but I lied. Yeah, sorry about lying there. I'm going to stick with the Texans because I like the way they played. I didn't like the way that C.J. Stroud played, but for my running back, I'm just going to jump ahead. I'm going to go to Texans, and I've been talking about it a lot, Jake. I've been saying, hey, this Texans offense with Chubb out, I don't think that they're running the ball really well. Well, Marks ran the ball for 112 yards. So I'm going to go Marks for my running back. I know I went Christian Kirk as well in that offense, but I'm going to go Marks. He ran for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. His longest was 20. Jake, the Steelers defense is known for being physical, and the way he ran through that physical team was super impressive. I think the Bills are going to have a problem. I'm sorry, not the Bills, but I think they're going to have a problem stopping him. I think he's going to be a problem for anybody he faces. So I like Marks as my my running back for this week, and they're going against the Patriots. So good luck stopping them.
Yeah, I read something. I don't know if it was a wild card or if it was playoff history, but there has never been, I believe it was the wild card, there's never been 20-plus carries for a running back where none went in the negative. Like, they were all positive runs. And when you keep yourself moving forward, it makes it a lot easier on your offense, especially when your quarterback is giving it away like, Apple turnovers. So,
dude, handing it away.
I mean, I like CJ Stroud, but he doesn't deserve to be in the divisional round. And that's just the reality of it. So now he has to go and he has to prove himself. And you said it, the defense had to pick up, and they did. They got 2 touchdowns in this game. Well, okay, it's time for CJ Stroud to go out and get 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns of his own. Wide receiver, I got Devontae Adams. He is a Chicago Bear killer. He's got a lot of experience in the postseason, and I think everyone's kind of forgotten Devontae Adams does not have a Super Bowl ring. So this is his opportunity. And it just feels like the last game, people were getting down on him. I understand the drops were really frustrating, but
he was missed wide open too, Jake. He was wide open a couple of times, and Matthew just missed him.
That's true. And, I would say this. There's a real possibility that being out for 3 games made him a little rusty. He had the, he had the false start, right?
Yeah.
Might be a little rusty.
Torn hamstring, like, come on, dog.
Yeah, the hamstring, which, by the way, he fell down right in front of me. I was in the 3rd row, and I saw it immediately, and it was not good. And you felt like in that moment, you're like, oh, no, don't tell me. Because everything's coasting, 40-point game, and then they throw a bomb to Adams, and you're like, don't tell me. So he's back, and that's great. But maybe, just maybe, he's not 100% back. And I think this week we start to see him start to look like himself. I think Matthew Stafford is going to be more on the same page with him. So I think Adams is going to be a top performer this week. But also sticking with that game, I got tight end Colston Loveland. If they don't care.
Jake, you took mine because I took him off my list because he's going. Yeah, okay. Good one.
I see you. Yeah. Colston Loveland right now is the hottest tight end in football. I mean, unfortunately, with George Kittle going down with the torn Achilles, and we're praying for a quick recovery there. He's going to be 34. I mean, I got a soft spot for George Kittle. He's one of the first people I interviewed. So
him and Travis Kelce are kind of, they're on the other side of the hill a little bit.
Yeah, but the problem is, Kelce might retire, but Kelce also doesn't have a torn Achilles to worry about. Like that. That's a lot. We saw Cam Akers come back in 7-8 months, but he was also 23. It's going to be a little different for 33, 34-year-old George Kittle. So I hope he is able to come back and, be that same player, but he might not ever be the same player. That is a debilitating injury.
Whoever Aaron Rodgers went to, Jake, he should go there because Aaron Rodgers, he was explosive this year. He was running away from pressure, so that looked really good. So go to wherever Aaron Rodgers went.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you there. Colston Loveland. He is right now the most targeted player on that team.
Yep.
They like to throw the ball down the field. And Caleb and him are on the same page. Loveland has over 30, it's over 35, I believe, 35 targets the last 3 games. You got DJ Moore, you got Rome Odunze, doesn't matter. He's targeting Colston Loveland like 10 times a game. So I think Loveland's going to have a big game against the Rams. I hope they're ready for him, but I still think, regardless of the outcome, I think he's going to have a good game. He's my top performer there.
Awesome, Jake. I was going to go Caleb Williams and Colston actually for my top 2, but I was like, damn, I got Ram jerseys behind me. I just can't, I can't do that to our Rams faithful here on the chat. But those 2 guys, and Caleb and Colston, they've been balling out this year. Really good to see. I'm going to go with the former Ram and Demarcus Robinson. I talked about it, Jake, before we started the show, but the way he showed up this game, he had 111 yards this game with 1 touchdown. Demarcus Robinson really crushed against the Eagles. I mean, if they get Ricky Pearsall back, Christian McCaffrey went off last game. I mean, they're going to be dangerous, this 49ers team. I know you wanted to talk about them a little bit later, and just the way that they fight back through injury, it doesn't matter. They have a great system. Kyle Shanahan puts him in great position, his receivers to be wide ass open, Jake, and very productive. So good job by that head coach there in Shanahan. You talked about coach of the year. I can see why. I mean, he also has Robert Saleh over there, and they're producing on that side with Eric Kendricks. I mean, they're just doing so many good things no matter who was in the game. So I got DeMarcus Robinson. He was going off similar to Christian Kirk. Those two guys had some top performances last week. And then Khalil Shakir for the Buffalo Bills. Just what he can do week in and week out. I picked him up on my fantasy football team because he's sure-handed. I mean, whenever you need to catch, whenever you need to convert, whenever you need something, Khalil Shakir can get it done. Let's see. I think he had 88 yards last week and 1 touchdown. So he's just efficient, Jake. Any broken
like 12
play
catches.
I mean, come on. Just Mr. Reliable. He's Mr. Reliable.
Yeah.
You got Keon Coleman over there, first round pick, whatever. That doesn't mean nothing. Khalil Shakir is like, hey, I'm here. Throw it to me if you want to win. So I like Khalil Shakir to be my top performer this week.
All right. Defensive Cam. First off, we got Cam's jersey right there is sick. So people are noticing.
Yeah.
But Cam, defensive player. We're moving on in the defensive side. I'm going to use him. I know we've used him so many times. He probably has been a top performer on our show more weeks than anybody. I'm going with Will Anderson Jr.
Nice.
He's going to get pressure on Drake May. I'm sorry, Patriots fans. You have to deal with the best pass rush duo, and I don't think it's remotely close right now between Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. And oh, by the way, if you just so manage to get rid of that football beforehand, you still have the secondary with Bullock and Petrie and Lassiter and Stingley. It's brutal. It is a brutal matchup. It is the toughest defense they played all year, but Will Anderson Jr. is going to have a huge game. I'm going to go with Ernest Jones at linebacker.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to need to have a huge game if Seattle wants to advance to the first time they've been in the NFC Championship since 2015. He's going to have a big game. I'm going with cornerback Christian Benford from the Bills. I think he's going to get a pick on Bo Nix. I think he's going to do a really nice job in this game. He had a really good game last week. They have a lot of weapons over there in Jacksonville, only allowed 20 yards. Give me Christian Benford. And then last but certainly not least, I'm going with Patriots safety Craig Woodson. Let's be honest here. I might think Drake May is going to struggle against this defense, but that doesn't mean I don't think C.J. Stroud is going to turn over the football again. And Craig Woodson's going to come down with one of those picks. He's also huge in the run game. So I think Craig Woodson's going to have a huge game this week. California, rookie. And I don't think people have been paying attention to him and Jalen Hawkins enough in the back end of that secondary in New England. They've done a really nice job, and I thought they had some pretty underrated reps over there against the Chargers this past weekend.
I like that, Jake. For me, this game, I'm going to go Boye Mafe. I know you picked him a lot throughout this year. That Seattle Seahawks defensive line is absolutely insane. He has 10 sacks on the season and 48 pressures. 2 sacks is most recently. So I think Boye Mafe is going to get it done. And then Kelly Ringo, cornerback for the Patriots. I mean, I know Chris, there's some injuries on that side. So I think Kelly Ringo is going to step in and get things done. And man, I mean, we talked about the defensive side. Defense wins championships, truly. I think just the Texans game shows it all. You talk about Will Anderson Jr. and those guys, the way they turn the football over and force turnovers. I think whoever is going to advance is going to have the best defense. And the Seattle Seahawks, man, they're looking dangerous right now. So along with the Texans, but man, those are my top performers.
I like that. And Keely Ringo, I didn't even realize he was there. So, okay. I see you.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's talk about the recap of the wild card real quick. Won't spend too much time on it, and then we'll get right into the games. So the Rams defeated the Panthers. The Bears defeated the Packers. The Bills beat the Jaguars. The Eagles lost to the 49ers, and the Chargers lost to the Patriots, and the Texans beat the Steelers. Mike T is out. He no longer wants to coach this year, so Mike Tomlin is out with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I guess it was the illusion of choice when it comes to that Tyler Loop kick, in the Ravens and Steelers game. It wasn't, I missed a field goal and John Harbaugh gets fired. It was, I missed the field goal and neither coach is going to be coaching in 2026 with the same team. Interesting stuff there. Name one thing that really stood out to you this weekend, just out of all the games. What was the biggest thing that stood out to you before we move on to Saturday and Sunday?
The biggest game that stood out to me, Jake, was the turnovers for that defense, the Texans defense. I mean, like I mentioned before, defense wins championships. That was insane to see that they stayed in that game. The fact that CJ Stroud really almost handed the ball over every single play, and that Texans defense took the game in their own hands. It was like, yo, we got this. Forced fumble, sack on Aaron Rodgers, let's take it back and score a touchdown. Dude, that defense was impressive to see. And to be honest, whoever was watching, they need to do the same thing, because a lot of the defenses that make it further in the playoffs are going to be really good. And so the offenses aren't going to play as well as you want them to. And so whoever forces more turnovers is going to win. So that's what stood out the most to me, Jake. What about you?
Yeah, it's funny because the Texans defense is exactly what I've been saying they were going to be. I mean, I've been saying all year, this is a Super Bowl defense. This is a team that I have going to the Super Bowl because of their defense. Mm-hmm. So when they showed up against the Steelers, I was kind of like, I was
You're like, I've been saying
this is what I've been saying this, Yeah. But no, I think the thing that stood out to me the most were the 4 games that came down to the wire, and how close playoff games have truly become over the years. There used to be just straight blowouts, and obviously when the Steelers are in, there's always guaranteed for at least one blowout. But, really 4 out of the 6 games were toss-ups at the end. They could have gone either way. Matthew Stafford, that interception that Puka Nacua ripped out of Nick Scott's hands, who knows where the game goes if he comes down with that interception.
Yeah.
The Bears-Packers game, Caleb Williams, he came up limping, and I don't think people talked about it nearly enough. If that affected him a little bit more, they might not have won that game. And in addition to that, the Packers, if they make one of those field goals, they probably win the game, right? So That's something. The Jaguars and Bills, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if they called pass interference on that play, like I mentioned with Trey White and Jacoby Myers, they're around the 40-yard line with about a minute to go, and Trevor Lawrence played well in that game. I know he's getting clowned and, getting the Cancun memes and all that, but I thought Lawrence played well.
He did.
And the same thing goes if they stop Josh Allen, right? And then the 49ers-Eagles game, if Jalen Hurts doesn't throw it into triple coverage and, finds the guy in the flat, I mean, if he scores, we're talking a completely different tune. It's just a reminder that those kind of toss-up games, at the end of those games, I mean, they would have had huge consequences and huge, things would have changed. And so that's kind of the funny thing is now, even though the Eagles now know what it feels like to feel like 13 or 14 yards short like the Rams did last year in the divisional round, it's just funny because that's the difference between the 49ers going to play Seattle, which then forces the Rams to go on the road and play the Bears, or the Rams going to Seattle, and then the Eagles going on the road and playing in Chicago. And it's the same thing where, like, if the Jaguars beat the Bills, then now the Bills don't exist in the rest of the playoffs, and the Jaguars are going to New England, and the Texans are going to Mile High Stadium. There are a lot of different things that come into this, and so that's what I thought was really fascinating, how those 4 games came down to the wire. And
I like that.
It's just a reminder that, even like a couple plays and whatnot, the margin for error in the playoffs is so small, and this is what we talk about. This is what playoff football is.
And Jake, sorry, you talk about margin for error. I did make an error. I said Keely Ringo's with the Patriots. He's with the Eagles. Apologies about that.
I was gonna say, I thought he was on the Eagles. I was like,
sorry about that.
This dude was just like, I'm out. He voided his contract before the game ended. I'm on the Patriots about now.
That. But so switching him out, I know you sent something before the show started today with Sean Payton, but Dre Greenlaw, he's back. You mentioned the 49ers. You talk about that margin of error of almost winning a game but not doing it. Well, I remember Dre Greenlaw, I think it was a championship game when he ran off the sideline and popped his Achilles. I know we talked about Achilles a little bit earlier, but him coming back this game, I know he's thinking about what happened when he popped his Achilles. And if he's in that game, Jake, I forget who the 49ers were playing, but if he stays in that game, I think they win it, right? Just how much with the intensity he was playing with, the production he was playing with, it was insane. It was one of the better linebacker duos that I've seen in a while. 49ers are known for great linebacker duos, but Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, they are ranked up there. And with Dre Greenlaw coming back to the Patriots this week, I think he'll have an answer for what the Pats are going to do. The Bills are going to do. And so you look back there in that backfield with Josh Allen running that football. Hey, he might have to think twice if Dre Greenlaw is coming around.
Well, that is a perfect segue into number 6 Buffalo Bills, who are 13-5, taking on the number 1 Denver Broncos, who are 14-3. Cam, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this game. Okay. The Bills are down to just 3 healthy, active wide receivers. Okay. Brandon Cooks is their number 2 receiver right now. Khalil Shakir is number 1. And you mentioned Keon Coleman's number 3. They're going to be taking guys off their practice squad. And maybe we're going to be out there playing wide receiver. Who knows? The Bills also have Josh Allen, who can eliminate a lot of the strengths of the Broncos with that pass rush. Allen has the legs, the mobility. He can really give any team fits. And we saw that against the Jaguars because they still had the pass rush. They were getting after him. But how did that game end? With Josh Allen in the end zone holding on to the football with his legs. So, it's not to mention the Bills also have one of the best running backs in the league in James Cook. Yeah. He could also help in the receiving game, has a good receiving background from his days in college. And I think the Bills have just been playing inspiring defense late, in big games. And I think they're ready for this matchup. The Broncos are the 1 seed. They had a brutal home field advantage that helps them because having to play a mile high, the elevation, all that can really be a problem. Plus they have a Super Bowl winning head coach in Sean Payton in his own right.
Boo! I'm just kidding.
I give
me the asshole sometimes. That was a knee jerk reaction. My bad.
Yeah, I don't care. I have to be honest. He has good numbers in the fourth quarter. I don't trust Bo Nix in this one. I just don't. I think the Bills are going to get after him. They're going to be able to get 1 or 2 stops to end this thing and secure it. J.K. Dobbins, like I mentioned earlier, not being available, I think hurts the Broncos. But I do think they're going to be able to run the football. Like I also mentioned, with R.J. Harvey, I think the Broncos can win this game. But if I have to go against Josh Allen, knowing that Mahomes, Lamar, and Burrow are not in the field, Josh Allen has the most playoff wins of anybody in the field right now for quarterback. I'm going to take Josh Allen. I think he's a different animal. I don't like to do this whole, I'm going to take the quarterback. That's the reason I'm going to take the win. But Josh Allen's just a different animal right now, and especially in the playoffs. And I think it's going to be enough to propel the Bills to the AFC Championship, where they're either going to face Drake May, who he's in his first ever playoff, and a Patriots team that can't rush the passer. That does not sound good, where they also blew a 21-point lead against Buffalo. Or they're going to face a defense that gave Josh Allen fits the last time they played. So it's going to be really intriguing, but I think the Bills pull this one off, and I would not be surprised if the Broncos come out a little rusty off this bye. I actually think that's going to be something we see in the next game as well.
Yeah. You mentioned coming off rusty a little bit. You mentioned that with Devontae Adams, right? They're sitting out for 3 games and then now having to perform, running at top speed and lead the league in touchdown catches. Like that is a lot. Same thing with the Broncos. They're 8-1 at home, Jake. They're coming off of a bye, like you mentioned, but also I just went back. They didn't really play real football since like week 15. So they've just been kind of warming up and getting to it. But in saying that, Jake, I think they're battle tested. I think Sean Payton's the reason why they win this football game. Sean Payton has been in the playoffs before. He's been in tough games. And I think the Broncos win this one 24-21. Reason being, I think their defense is better. I think their defense is better. I think Denver is third against the run, which is great because you just talked about it, right? Josh Allen has 3 receivers to throw the football to, so that's going to be tough. So what are they going to do? They're going to run it. They have one of the best running backs in the league, number 1 in yards with Cook, and they got Josh Allen. So I think that this Denver Broncos defense is going is going to stuff that. They're going to stop that motion, and then Bo Nix is going to run the ball himself, and then also R.J. Harvey. So Cortland Sutton's coming along nicely. That offense is moving, but at the end of the day, like I mentioned, defense wins championships, and the Bills' defense isn't as good as the Broncos, and so I got them winning this one. Like I mentioned, Bo Nix is my top performer for this week. He's been resting, he's been chilling, he's been watching the Bills, he's been taking his chances and opportunities, and I think, like I mentioned, Sean Payton will get them over the hump. Even though I don't like Sean Payton, his attitude a lot, right? I do think he'll get them over the hump, and coaching will win him this game.
So you got 24-21. I have 23-20. We move on to Seattle taking on the 49ers. And the last time the 49ers were the number 6 seed going up against the number 1 seed in the playoffs, they went on in the NFC Championship game to face the Rams. The 49ers, they come off an impressive win against the Eagles, but not one that I really was shocked by. I think they have tons of injuries, but like I said, I felt like they were going to beat the Eagles even still. I think they're better coached, and I think that came to play. I also trusted Brock Purdy more than Jalen Hurts, and people would push back and say, well, Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl. I don't care. Brock Purdy, I think, is a better quarterback. And I think playing in the NFC West has its perks. I do credit the competition, the coaching, as to why the 49ers came away with a win in Philadelphia, and I was not surprised it happened. That said, they have a much tougher test against an opponent that they know very well, and the opponent knows them very well, the Seattle Seahawks. Also, that said, Brock Purdy is 6-0 when playing in Seattle, but the Seahawks did just beat the 49ers 13-3, and the score didn't indicate just how much Seattle controlled that game. I think the Seahawks are one of the best defenses in football, but that said, they did almost give up 600 yards to the Rams on a short week. This is the only offense that is not, like, this is essentially the 49ers are number 2. The Rams are the only offense ahead of the 49ers. So in addition to that, they had a shootout against the Buccaneers earlier in the year. I know you were privy to. When the Buccaneers were healthier in the season. I can absolutely see Shanahan finding a way to send his team back to the NFC title game. That said, I think they finally fall just short. I think Seattle's defense and the run game is going to allow them to keep Sam Darnold on ice, and I think, play mainly the game manager role. And Sam is looking for his first playoff win, and I think he's going to get that if he takes care of the football and has the support around him that he had in Week 18. That's the recipe. If they can do that, I think they can win. So Seattle, I expect to win a close one, 24-23, host the NFC title game for the first time. They're appearing there first time since 2015. And as for the 49ers, if they win this thing, they're as dangerous as anybody, even if they don't have George Kittle. The one thing I'll say about this is they are going to have Pearsall, I think, and they will have Trent Williams. And those two did not play against Seattle the last time they matched up. And I think Trent Williams, we all know when you have him, you're a different animal. When you don't have him, you're also a different animal. And that's not necessarily a good thing. So I'm expecting this to come down the wire. This is the weirdest game. This is back and forth. I'm going to hold firm on Seattle winning, but I really would not be surprised if the 49ers pull this off because, again, I hate to make it a quarterback thing. I don't trust Sam Darnold. I just don't, Cam. I have no reason to. He's never won a playoff game before. Last year, he didn't look ready for the moment. The big thing for him is that the 49ers just don't generate a lot of pressure, and I think that'll help him.
Yeah, Jake, I feel you on this one. I'm going to go 25 Seattle, 49ers 20. Reason being, Seattle can run the ball better. Christian McCaffrey he's catching the ball at backfield now, right? Teams are stuffing him at 40 yards, 50 yards. I feel like the Rams have figured Christian McCaffrey out in the run game, and I think other teams are taking note of that. But it's the pass game where Christian McCaffrey gets loose. So Ernest Jones, he knows Christian McCaffrey since his Rams days. And so I think if they shut Christian McCaffrey down, it's ball game, folks. It's ball game. And one thing I do know, we did mention that the 49ers are known for fighting back, right? The hurt dog is the most dangerous dog. The Rams figured that out against Mac Jones. We know that their system is great as in their offensive system and defensive system. Eric Kendricks had a nice play against the Eagles, right, to break up that pass over the middle against Goddard. But I don't think he'll be able to get that done against the Seattle Seahawks. I mentioned their run game being too dynamic, them coming off a bye week. They're fresh, so Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker. I think the last time that they played the 49ers, those guys rushed for over 70 yards apiece. So Zach Charbonnet ran for 74 and a touchdown. Kenneth Walker ran for 97 yards that game. Yeah. Like I mentioned, defense wins championships. You can't win if your defense is getting ran through, like full stop. And then if JSN wants to be the offensive player of the year, he's going to have to show the 49ers and Robert Saleh that, hey, I know you're missing a lot of your players. I know you have one of the better defensive coaches in the league. I'm still going to catch this football, and I'm still going to make do. And then let's not forget how well that the Seattle Seahawks defense forces turnovers, Jake. That defensive line is humming. That defensive line is doing what they're supposed to do. And even on the back end, those guys are covering really well. So the Seattle Seahawks lost to the Rams once and beat them once. The same thing with the 49ers. But, Jake, that game that they lost to the Rams, they really should have won that one. So they're the first seed for a reason. You talked about not trusting Sam Darnold. Well, I think he's scarred from being in Minnesota, right? He's like, all right, I can't make this same mistake again, right? I have a fire defense. I got a fire team. I got to find a way to win. And so I think they get it done this week, Jake. I think the Seattle Seahawks win this one. And, man, I think Seattle Seahawks versus the Rams in the championship, brother. NFC championship, that is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, Cam. It'll definitely be interesting. I mean, we agree, and yet part of me, I don't even agree with what that I'm saying. Like, I'm like so close.
Like, yeah,
I'm like so close to picking the Niners, and I don't know why. Like,
do you hate the Niners, Jake? Is that why?
I despise the Niners, but I'm so close to picking them to win.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, because I'm trying to be, obviously unbiased here with the Rams stuff in the background. And, I think my biggest thing is that they just continue to find ways. Brock Purdy was pressured a ton. Like, it's not like Vic Fangio didn't get pressure. It's not like he didn't get turnovers. They picked off Brock twice, and they still couldn't win. And so I feel like Seattle's better, and that's why, like, I'm picking them. But this is the weirdest game, dude. Like, I would be so pissed if I was a Seahawks fan. You have to play the same team that you beat week 18, but you did not have, like, I don't care how people want to word it. The week off, I actually think hurts Seattle. And I think we're going to see that. The week off, I think, hurts Seattle. And I think the 49ers are in a better position because they got to get that win out. They got to get some momentum going. And now they're playing the same team that beat them by 10 in their house. And they're looking like we're 6-0 with Brock Purdy in Seattle. And on top of that, the 49ers are 7-2 on the road. They're a better road team. Yeah. So,
Jake, real quick, there's a
tough.
good question in the chat. There's a good question in the chat, Jake. Would you guys rather see the Rams play the 49ers or the Seahawks?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Really good one. I say 49ers, bro. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, the Rams would hate to see him, but they know how to stop him in the run game, and I think that's a win-win. The Seahawks, that run game is too vicious, bro. JSN versus Puka, that defense. That's I think when you go to sleep at night, you don't want to wake up and be like, damn, like I'm playing the Seahawks tomorrow. Like, let me really buckle my chin strap. The 49ers is like, they got some guys hurt now. It's like a coaching battle. You know what I mean? Like, who's in better position at that point? But if you play the Seahawks, it's like, who's in better position? And like, will I get my teeth knocked out this game?
See, like, that's the interesting thing, because I see this comment right here, and this couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not scared of any team, because I feel like if the Rams played their style of football, they'll beat anybody. And I don't think it would be remotely close if the Rams played their style for all 60 minutes, right? But the reality is the Rams have shot themselves in the foot. And so at that point, doesn't matter if it's the Seattle Seahawks or the Carolina Panthers or whoever, they're going to keep games close. When they play their game, it's not close. Most of their wins are blowouts. Like, if you notice, like, they're not one-possession games. It's why all of their losses are one possession. So, that said, I have a different theory. The way I see it is this. If you're a Rams fan, it shouldn't matter which one, by the way. But if you're talking about who's the most dangerous, it's the 49ers, without a doubt. Why? The Seahawks are the better team. The Seahawks had the closer games to the Rams. The 49ers are that team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you don't think they're going to pull out every single stop, and if they get to the NFC title game and they're playing the Rams, you know their fans are going to show up. And in addition to that, and we haven't even gotten to the Rams thing yet, but in addition to that, you know their fans are going to show up, but you also know that this 49er team is one win away from hosting the Super Bowl. So I just feel like it's not as simple as that. Plus, Brock Purdy has done it. He's gone to a Super Bowl. He's won big games. Sam Darnold hasn't. The last time you faced Sam Darnold, he had one good fourth quarter, and now I'm supposed to sit here and act like he's way better than... No. Sam Darnold, the last time you played him in the playoffs, you folded him like an accordion. So I don't care what anyone says. I think the 49ers can continue to lose players, and the way that team plays, that I have not seen that team quit. And again, this is the wild card here. The Rams have not seen Brock Purdy this year. There you go. They've played against Mac Jones twice. They blew him out one time, and then they lost in the final seconds in the other. I think the more dangerous team is the team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Yeah. And that is San Francisco.
The hurt dog is the more dangerous dog. I like that. I like that approach.
Yeah. So it has nothing, like, I don't pick games based on like, oh, I hope this happens. I genuinely think that this game is going to be so close. I'm taking Seattle, but I'm just saying that if the 49ers win, it's not an upset. It's not a shock. Well, it's an upset, but it's not a monumental shock.
Yeah.
Seattle has the quarterback that has no playoff wins. We're supposed to, like, people are forgetting, when you used to get the 1 seed as the New England Patriots, you have Tom Brady, who's been there, done that a million times. So that's what made them so ferocious and so scared at, such a scary team as the number 1 seed. They've been there. They've done that. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, hard to stop. Well-oiled machine. Like, when you do that, like Peyton Manning and the Broncos, right? Like, okay, they've been there, done that, whatever. Bo Nix and the Broncos have 0 playoff wins together. Sam Darnold has 0 playoff wins. Like,
I see what you're saying.
I don't think it's as simple as like, oh, they're the 1 seed, rawr. Like, I don't see it like that, So, and by the way, like, I think any team can win the Super Bowl. Like, this idea that like only these teams and these teams can, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you are the final 8, if you're in the Elite 8, you have a shot. Like, the Bears have a shot, Texans have a shot, Patriots have a shot, Broncos, every single team. I'd be the most shocked if the Broncos won the Super Bowl. That's the one team that would absolutely stun me. But I would give all the credit in the world to Sean Payton.
It's because Sean Payton's an asshole. That's why. It's like, how'd you make it this far, buddy? You didn't make it with the Saints. How'd you make it this far?
Well, I mean, you won a Super Bowl with the Saints, but I get what you're saying. All right. So let's get into, we just went off the rails there. I did. Let's go to the Texans and Patriots game. Cam, the way I see it, the Patriots have one of the best offenses in the league. Drake May, Josh McDaniels, great combination, right? That said, the Texans are by far the toughest defense that they will have played this season. And they did not play a lot of great teams this season. So I do expect D'Amico Ryans to have a game plan, get to Drake May, force some turnover-worthy plays. And I think the Patriots, they're not going to get a ton of pressure on C.J. Stroud. They just don't get a lot of pressure. Texans offensive line, is it the best? No. Is it the Chargers? Also no. It's a lot better than the Chargers. So I think C.J. Stroud needs to, of course, take care of the football, which I don't think he's entirely going to do. But I do expect the Texans are going to have a shutdown defense, get after May, pressure him into a turnover or two. And I think they're going to win this game and go to the AFC title game for the first time in team history. Give me a 23-16 Texans win in Foxborough.
Whoa, okay, Jake. I'm going to agree with you. I got Texans 23, Patriots 19. I think C.J. Stroud was so embarrassed last week with 5 fumbles and one interception that he's going to protect the football this week. I think, Jake, right now, he's carrying a football in his hand through the meeting rooms when he goes home at night. He's telling his partner, whoever, punch the ball. And if the ball drops, I give you 50, whatever it is, Jake. But he's holding on to that rock this week. I think Christian Kirk steps up big time. I have him as my top performer this week. And that Texans defense, like we mentioned, defense wins championships with the Pats. Ramondre Stevenson, he's getting things going along. Drake May, it's his second year. He's not going to win MVP because Matthew Stafford is. So he's like, all right, I gotta get to the Super Bowl. But I don't think they get it done. And I don't think we're talking about D'Amico Ryans enough, Jake, just the way that his defense really put up, what was it, 20 points in the fourth quarter? Like it was 10-6, Jake, in the fourth quarter, my guy. And those guys forced a fumble, scored, intercepted the ball, and scored. I mean, like that against a guy who may retire pretty soon, who's one of the best in the NFL to do it. He made it to the playoffs finally, and they still shut him out. And so with Aaron Rodgers. So that Texans defense, man, they're cooking. You talked about their back four, their defensive backs that they have that were going crazy against the Steelers in that front defense, man. Those guys really get after it. So if CJ Stroud holds onto the football, the Texans win this one. I'm going to say it's going to be closer than what I think you said, 24-16, I think you said. I'm going to go 24-21. It's going to be a close one. I think the Texans pull this one off.
I like it. I think, 16 is kind of like the sweet spot for the Texans defense. If they keep although I think they've the games that they've lost, I think teams have scored 17 points. So that's just insane. That kind of goes to show you how good they are. But we agree on everything except for the Broncos game, because you and I both took Seattle, right?
Yep, sure did.
So that means, last but not least, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Chicago Bears. And Cam, I mean, this one is going to be crazy because this is probably the most talked about one in terms of weather. The Rams are expected to have everyone back this week except for Akello Witherspoon. Real bummer there. Yeah. But this team is coming off a big-time comeback. And I think when I look at that comeback, I think any damage that happened, I think they took that loss really hard against Seattle, more than I expected them to. Any damage that came from Seattle's loss or the loss against the Falcons, I think they kind of recalibrated themselves with that win against Carolina. Just showing you could get that monkey off your back. Even though Carolina, they have their number. They match up well with them. There's a lot of former players from the Rams on that team. And then the defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero, was with the Rams forever. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
Nick Scott almost put it away, Jake. Nick Scott, former Ram, he almost put that game away for the Panthers.
Yeah. So, the Bears, on the other hand, did an even crazier thing. They came back from 18 against the division rival. That's hard to do. The Bears have a boomer bust quarterback. That's the best way I can put it. Caleb Williams. He's not afraid to go crazy in any game. He attempts throws that quarterbacks would never think twice about. And the Bears have a lethal offense. I mean, rookie head coach Ben Johnson, he might be an asshole as well, but looking at the run game with
he talks shit.
He definitely does. Which, by the way, we'll get into. But Matt LaFleur happens to be Sean McVay's best friend, despite what the media tells you about Kyle Shanahan. And Mike LaFleur happens to be the brother of Matt LaFleur. So there's a little edginess going on. Yeah, there's some smoke, But the run game, DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, we've been talking about them all year. We know what they can do. Boatload of receiving weapons. I mean, you got DJ Moore, Romo Dunze, Luther Burden III, and, of course, the emergent star that we were just talking about, Colston Loveland. Can't even forget about Cole Kmet either. I mean, he's a good player in his own right, just not really utilized. The Rams' defense isn't playing their best football, but they did flash a turnaround last week. Don't look at the score. Look at the run defense. Look at how different they looked with the return of Quentin Lake. I think that's the big thing you want to take away from. Lake played every snap on rust and looked pretty darn good doing it. But the Rams, they have an offense that can score on anyone. And, they weren't just playing in the snow last divisional round to go out there and now in the cold, they're going to just forget how to play football. I mean, Stafford threw 320 plus yards against the Super Bowl champions in the snow last divisional round and gave them a chance, and they fell 13 yards short. I'm going to take the Rams in a close game, Cam. I think the Bears have a shot. After all, this is a team that, is playing a team that the Bears love to come back late in games. They love to sleepwalk through the first three quarters and then make a valiant comeback in the fourth. And the Rams love to dominate games and give them away in the fourth quarter. So that's a recipe for disaster or success, depending on which side you're rooting for. But I just think Chicago's been ultra clutch in these games, 17 points per game their last fourth quarters, the last three games in the fourth quarter. Can they do it again? They can. Will we see them do it again? I think we won't. I think the Rams find a way. they know they're one win away from being closer to a Super Bowl than they've been since they won it. I don't see them letting the opportunity slip. And if I have to choose Matthew Stafford, Caleb Williams, if I have to choose Sean McVay, Ben Johnson, if I have to choose Sean McVay over Dennis Allen, who, by the way, is 5-2 against Dennis Allen, I'm going to choose Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. So Rams win 27-23. I don't know why people think this is going to be like a 50-48 game. I don't care how bad you think both defenses are. If it's as cold as they're saying it's going to be, I don't see how you're going to have almost 100 combined points in this game. So I do expect this to be under 30. Could be wrong, but I think the Rams prevail, and they know they're one step away. Going into this game, they will know they're one step away from a revenge game against the Seattle Seahawks to get back what they lost on Thursday Night Football.
I would love to see that, Jake. I got the Rams winning this one 34. Sorry. The Rams winning this one 27 to the Bears 24. The only way the Rams lose this game, Jake, is if they let the special teams mess it up. I've been talking about defense all day. We're talking about offense, but special teams in particular. The Panthers, I think it was Isaiah Simmons, had a punt block against the Rams. It was against Tyler Ingle. He blocked them, and he let them go too quickly. And they saw that on tape, and they were like, "Hey, Isaiah, go ahead and rush the punt. He's going to block you really quickly, and he's going to release. And so go ahead and continue and block that kick." And that's what they did. And then the week before that, against the Cardinals, they had a fake pass or fake punt against the Rams. And so only way the Rams lose this one against the Bears is if they see a hole in that punt return or any special team game, and they capitalize on it. Other than that, Jake, the Rams, the defense they've been playing, okay. The defensive line has played decent. But Jake, I'm gonna call him out really quick. But our guy Kobe Durant and was it Emmanuel Forbes? Coker from the Panthers, he was cooking their ass last week.
I thought Forbes played well. I'm gonna defend him. I thought he played well, but yeah, I think everyone else. McCreary played well too.
Yes,
but
I came in when Forbes went out. He had that pass deflection. That was nice.
Durant and I would say. My guy, Cam Curl. I think they really struggled. I think Cam Kinchins has really struggled in coverage for the last 7 weeks, so yeah.
They got cooked last game. So even though they get cooked though, Jake, right? Kobe Durant had an interception right off a tip pass. They're very productive. Cameron Curl, he's one of the best tackling safeties in the league. So they are very productive, but those one-on-one matchups, we talked about Burden, you talked about some of those other receivers for that Bears offense, it could get ugly. And so with Caleb Williams, you mentioned that he's hot or cold, right? He's either throwing it up and throwing an interception, or he's throwing it for a game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter. And so I think for this game, similar to the Seattle Seahawks, if he gets silly with that football, Jake, the Seattle Seahawks matchup that we had against them, I think it was week 13, we had 4 picks on Sam Darnold. This could be a 4-pick game for Caleb Williams if he throws the ball up silly. I think the Rams know that. I think the defensive line knows that. And, Byron Young, he had a hot streak towards the beginning of the season. He was getting a sack, I think, after every game. I think Byron Young, we're going to see the best Byron we think we've seen all year. Jared Verse, he shows up, right? Bull rush, he does this thing. But I think we'll see the best Byron Young that we've seen so far. And another thing, too, Kobe Parkinson, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, those guys are going to be matched up really nicely. But I think Kobe Parkinson and I think Blake Corum are going to be the ones that really show up this game. I think they have to, because that Bears offensive threat, that running back room can be as dangerous as the Panthers running back room when we first played them. So we're going to have to show up on special teams, the Rams are, and then also going to show up in the run game, and then also at the tight end position. I think those 3 things will be the reason why we win it. And you mentioned how cold it's going to be. We're going to see 13 personnel, I hope, the first couple plays of this game. Let's go ahead and do it. So got the Rams winning this one against the Bears.
Yeah, the Rams are not the glitz and glamour LA team that everyone's acting like they are. They're built to win ugly football. They just are. I mean, I know they have the MVP quarterback of the league. He's got 5 40-plus yard touchdowns this year. They're explosive. They're the number 1 offense. But if they got to go and play ugly, I mean, keep in mind, I was at the 49er game in Santa Clara when they put up 40-plus on the 49ers, and they did that using 13 personnel. They're not afraid. So I do think being fully healthy, I think Kevin Dotson, who is going to likely play,
thank God.
That is going to be huge for the run game. I don't think we'll notice it as much in the passing game because I thought Matthew Stafford had a lot of time against the Panthers. I thought they did a nice job up front. But yeah, I mean, also the Bears just don't have that pressure defense the way the Panthers do. So I just think that, the Rams are going to find a way. And if this
you gotta watch out for Kevin Byard though. That man knows how to get that football. They all do. That's their calling card. They're a team that forces turnovers. They did that against Brock Purdy. They had an interception on the first drive of the game. I think it might have been the first play of the game, and they lost. So they're a team that you have to look out for. I mean, that's why I just don't agree with like people saying it's not going to be close or whatever. It's like every team has a shot that's in. I think this is probably, you can make a case as much grief as I give the Broncos. You could make a case for every single team that's remaining to win the Super Bowl. I don't think that's every single year in the final 8 that you can do that. This year you can do that. Now, do I think every team is going to win? No. I don't think that the Bears are going to win. I don't think that the Broncos are going to win, but they can. It's certainly possible. I don't think that there's a huge talent disparity between the 8 of them. I don't. I think the NFC West houses the best teams in the league. Yeah. And it's playoff football, and Sam Darnold in the regular season is a lot different than Sam Darnold in the postseason. So we're going to find out. We're going to learn a lot. A lot this weekend. A lot of lore. Not Sam Darnold in the doghouse, Jake, because he didn't perform last playoffs. Yeah, you have a point though. You have a point. He's been there before, but he hasn't really delivered like that. So can JSN save him, and can those running backs save him? That's what I think is going to happen. And I really think it's the defense, Jake. At the end of the day, like you mentioned, the margin for error is very slim. And so the better the defense, the better the chances to win football games. I think this. And for the Rams case, special teams. If the special teams jack it up, it's going to be the Achilles heel for this Rams team. And we're talking about it all off season.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Couldn't agree more. That means our predictions are that Rams, Seahawks, we both believe is going to happen. And then I think it's going to be Bills and Texans, and you have the Broncos and Texans. So I picked Rams, Bills before the season started. And then mid-season, I started leaning towards Rams, Texans. I think they're both going to be playing, and I think I'm going to get one of those guys right in the AFC for sure. So
I got Rams, Texans, Jake. I got Rams, Texas. That defense is too far. CJ Stroud's not going to fumble the ball in the playoffs anymore or throw interceptions, and I think they'll make it. They'll make it to the chip.
Best offense versus best defense. Let's see if it happens. It very well could, but that is going to do it. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Be sure to hit the like button. Go tell somebody about Off the Edge. And we'll see you guys next week in the conference championship round of the playoffs.
Peace.